Game ruined. Many such cases.
While studying business, one thing that you're taught is the blue ocean strategy. The seemingly endless blue ocean represents a market that's never been taken advantage of.
Hold on, but you need to find the whales. Is that what we're going with?
Its counterpart is the red ocean, a market that has way too many competitors and is a headache to penetrate. One of the best examples of the blue ocean strategy is what Tesla did with EVs. They seemingly created the market from thin air, and then other competitors came in to try and get a piece of that pie. So now, of course, the EV market is a red ocean market, no longer a blue ocean one. For a while, people assumed that gacha games were a red ocean market. I mean, why wouldn't it be? The narrative was established. Gacha games targeted a very specific demographic, and that demographic wanted to spend an insane amount of money on very hot women. But recently, we've come to find out that not only was this incorrect, it actually couldn't have been further from the truth. Infold came in and made us truly understand that the gacha game industry wasn't really a red ocean market just yet. There was still potential to create a blue ocean market, and that's exactly what they did with their games. Instead of targeting the well-known male demographic that wanted to collect wives and spend way too much money on them, they
targeted the fujoshis.
Targeted the female market, who really liked the idea of having hot male husbands and spending way too much money on them. But targeting the female demographic didn't just end there. Infold saw very lucrative opportunities that other studios were not taking advantage of and proceeded to release their newest title, Infinity Nikki, which was a gacha game, but at its core was a dress-up game. It was an open world game with the goal of dressing up your character in different outfits that you loved. And they were on to something.
Did they make it pay to win so the best outfits get you the hottest husbands? Yeah.
Game released, it received immediate success, reaching 10 million downloads on all platforms, PC, mobile, and even PS5. This is extremely impressive even for a free-to-play game. It's ridiculous. It truly showed that there was a demographic in gacha games that was ignored for years, and Infold was finally able to give them what they wanted. So how the hell did they manage to go from a rating of 4.2 stars out of 5 on release when it came to the Google Play Store to now finding themselves at 1.
Nah, what was that number? It was 4.2 with 15K? Yeah, it was 4.2 with 15K, and it doubled and went to 1.8. That's insane. What did they do?
With their other games like Love in Deep Space also being affected by the crossfires. Sitting at 3.3 stars out of 5 on the Google Play Store, as opposed to 4.2 just a couple of months.
You do not fuck with the fujoshis, I'm telling you, man.
Prior. And let's not forget the fact that Infinity Nikki released on Steam and is now sitting at a mostly negative review. How could such a successful game that truly created a new segment in gacha, a genre that's existed for over a decade, fall from grace so quickly and so violently? Well, they're actually...
I don't even know how you'd manage to do that. Did they make it too expensive or something? Because, like, you're already buying outfits and stuff. Like, how bad could it be?
Many reasons, and we're gonna go over them together. So, yeah, hope you're ready.
I can't see it.
Do you know what's more rare than a double rainbow? Finding a gacha game that doesn't have a 50-50 system. You just get the character you want. Isn't that crazy?
Want her ass.
After player feedback, this is exactly what Idere Restart did during their beta. Look, this game didn't reinvent the wheel. They took something that already works, which is turn-based combat, and added their own twists to it. You have some really cool sci-fi looking characters and a lot of interesting synergies. Not to mention a lot of cool animations too. Whoa. But the twists don't end in the combat. Whoa. No, they stretch all the way over to the summoning system. One summon costs 100 gems, not 160, which is the gacha standard. It's already way cheaper. Not to mention that when you start the game, you get a targeted summon banner, which lets you get any of the SSR characters on release in just 40 pulls. You then proceed to build these characters, giving them different gear and upgrading their stats, all in preparation to either join a guild, which there are many of, you can even create your own guild, or joining the Global Invitational Tournament. You see, this game has PvP, but not the kind of PvP you're used to in gacha games. This isn't pay to win. It really all comes down to player skill. And you know what the best part about this is? This game is already out. It came out on June 5th, 2025. So if you're interested, make sure to click the link in the description or the pinned comment and download the game today. Thank you so much, Idere Restart, for sponsoring this video. Alright, so Infold has actually been around for over a decade now. The first game they've ever released was in 2012, and it was called Nikki Up to You. It was the first entry in the series of Nikki, and it was also a dress-up game.
This looks like a really old, I don't know what it's called, like a little dating sim from like 2008. Like, this gives me the 2008 vibes.
Oh, still not very well known at the time. Now, to be clear, the main developer for these games has always been Paper Games, a Chinese game developer. But in 2022, they launched Infold, their new international brand. 2024 was a very big year for Infold because they released 2 titles that truly revolutionized gacha. One of those games is, of course, Love in Deep Space. This game truly showed us, once and for all, that females are not only as horny as men when
they're hornier!
It comes to their gacha games, but they make men look like rookies in comparison. Listen, bro, I'm not making this up, okay? Once upon a time, I streamed this game, and let me tell you, dude, you literally get pounded. Like, literally.
Dude, his VTuber avatar!
Like, I'm not even joking. There are cutscenes where you're getting pounded by these male characters, all right? Like, this is
How is that allowed? Excuse me? What?
Next level. And guess what? It made more money than we could have ever imagined. Ever since its release.
Yeah, it actually beat Honkai Star Rail. Isn't that fucking insane?
It has been consistently in the top 3 biggest revenue generators in the entire gacha space. Look at this. It's making over $50 million a month, sometimes making 90.
Dude, $50 million a month because you make women goon. Nah, women are worse. I don't know. I don't believe it.
Making games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, whatever else, look like amateurs. You understand? Things were clear as day. There was a market for these games, and they wanted more. Now look, when it comes to success in life, it's a combination of hard work and luck. In 2024, the Roblox game Dress to Impress was absolutely blowing up. And people, whether it be male or female, were having a lot of fun dressing up their character in this goofy-ass game. All of a sudden, dress-up games became very mainstream. So of course, when Infinity Nikki launched in December 2024, the idea of a dress-up game went from niche to mainstream, and people were very excited about it, resulting in its massive success. Yes, even though their website got hacked with this wonderful, wholesome message telling people to evaporate their soul out of their body, it still managed to do great. I mean, this was it. A cute, wholesome game in which you could just sit there and make up these awesome outfits in an open world setting, and hey, it's free. What else is there to ask for? And
Wait, that might have actually been a good idea that I didn't get into this game. I didn't know it was like Dress to Impress. I actually think that might have been a good thing I didn't get into it. I might have actually spent my money on this fucking dog shit.
Gacha aspect of this game wasn't related to characters, it was related to outfits, or at least outfit pieces. And these were some of the outfits that you could earn through gacha pulls. The community
I like the Silver Gales aria, dude.
Absolutely fell in love with them. And speaking of community, they quickly took on the reputation of being wholesome and generous. Their positivity was seen as a beacon of hope in the midst of all the gacha drama that goes on 24/7 with people comparing their favorite game versus someone else's favorite game. At this point, it was hard to think that anything could go wrong. Infold was on a roll until they weren't. While the game did enjoy a lot of players, the revenue wasn't really reflecting its success. From December 2024 to January 2025, it made 50% of its revenue both in the Chinese markets and in the Western markets combined.
And you know what that means? We gotta milk their fucking wallets.
Downwards trend would continue from January to February and wouldn't really recover by March. It certainly wasn't making as much revenue as a game like Love in Deep Space, and red flags started popping up until a nuclear eruption took place. Steam is easily one of the best reasons to ever become a PC gamer. Valve has proven time and time again that they're the only people to be trusted running a platform like this. There's a
I mean, it has a gambling problem, but you know.
Reason why it has so many people using it every single day. So of course, getting your game on this platform is a big deal because not everyone is willing to download your custom launcher. There are many PC gamers who prefer to have everything in their Steam library, and if it's not the case, it's a deal breaker. Seeing that revenue was on the downwards trend, Infinity Nikki was on the hunt for new players. So launching on Steam was an easy way to do that. Now look, usually paid games before releasing have pre-orders. That helps a company understand how much demand there is for the game, if the marketing's effective, and brings in some much needed cash before the game's release date. With gacha games though, seeing that they're free to play, they have something called pre-registration. If you make an account on their website, you pre-register. And if they meet pre-registration goals, as you can see here, you get rewards for each tier. Yeah. Every single gacha game does this because it helps drive hype in anticipation of its...
And it also lets them prep servers. That's another thing why they do it. I don't hate it that much. I think there's a reason to it, but it also has like a connotation of being a little bit greedy. I get it though.
But there's no such thing as pre-registering on Steam. What there is though is the ability to wishlist a game you want to have, and you can do that for games that haven't released yet. So Infinity Nikki went ahead and set goals like they would in a pre-registration, but this time they'd be tied to the Steam wishlists. And as you can see, there was 4 different tiers here. The first one being 10,000 wishlists and it gives you a live wallpaper. The second one being 50,000 wishlists and it gives you concept art. The third goal is 100,000 wishlists and gives you a bunch of resonance crystals. Now, what are resonance crystals? Well, this is the gacha currency you need to wish or gamble and get new outfit pieces.
Please tell me they don't like just not give them the... Do they not give them what they asked for?
There are 2 types of banners that you can wish on in the game. The first one being a limited banner. This only comes in for like 2 to 3 weeks and you need revelation crystals for it. The other banner is a permanent banner. It never leaves. And for this, you need resonance crystals. So 100,000 wish list was showing resonance crystals. Awesome. But the fourth and final goal being at 200,000 wish lists was the final surprise, showing a shape of a gacha currency. People assumed that this one would be the revelation crystal, what you need to pull on the limited banner, which is probably the most important currency in the game. This only made sense because 200,000 was double the last goal, and the last goal was going to give you resonite crystals anyway. So of course, seeing that this community is very wholesome and tight-knit, they went ahead and wishlisted the hell out of this game on Steam, even though many of them already had the launcher. They reached 100,000, and then they managed to reach 200,000. But then they noticed something weird. The official Infinity Nikki account completely changed the image. It went from this, with the fourth and final image potentially looking like a revelation crystal, to it just being a chest of resonite crystals like the third one. So in the first image, the 100,000...
That is some rat shit right there.
Wishlist goal had 11 resonite crystals in the chest, and people were assuming they were either going to get more resonite crystals on the fourth wishlist goal or revelation crystals. The image completely changed that, and instead of having 11 resonite crystals in the third goal, they switched it to 2, which is exactly what they ended up getting. And then the final surprise, the 200,000 wishlist.
Yeah, they even changed the graphic. It's like you get 2 instead of like a whole case of them. And then they changed this to this.
Contained a chest of 8 crystals. So in total, they got 10 resonite crystals, when in reality, they should have gotten 11 just for the third goal. People were obviously outraged here. Like, what? Why are you being so stingy over something so stupid? Like over 10 pulls? Really? It's as if they were giving away real crystals. Like, what the hell was going on? The post celebrating 200,000 wishlists on Steam from Infinity Nikki with this changed image had 100 replies, and none of them were really happy. And after sufficient community backlash, they finally quote tweeted that tweet and said, you know what, guys? We're gonna give you 10 revelation crystals. Thank you so much for being such amazing fans. This led many people to believe that they were hoping that the community wouldn't notice, but when they did, they ended up giving them the rewards they were meant to have in the first place anyway. So look, this might seem like a small incident to you, but so far this game has been nothing but perfect. You have to understand that. This was the first instance in which they did something so weird, so scummy, and in which they played with their community's trust. But hey, listen, the community, as I said, is wholesome. They were willing to get past this and get back to the game they loved. Unfortunately though, this was only the beginning for Infold's absolute roller coaster ride down to hell. So look, one thing you have to understand is that the release on Steam was going to coincide with a massive update, which was the 1.5 update. This had features the community was very excited about, like a co-op mode. Before this, you weren't really
able to get your girly pops to play with you.
Able to play with other players. Your world only had you. But in 1.5, you were going to be able to play with a friend, exploring the world together and showing off your outfits. Additionally, there was going to be a full-fledged dye system. Before this, each outfit had like 2 or 3 colors that you could...
WoW still doesn't have this, and I think it's a crime. Not being able to dye your armor is so cringe. Not even all armor, just like do some armor or something.
pull using the gacha mechanic. But here you had a seemingly endless amount of colors with their different palettes, capable of drastically changing any outfit you own. I can't really overstate just how excited the community was about dying. In fact, Infinity Nikki had hyped the hell out of it by releasing an event in 1.4 called Caring for the Bulkhead, or Bulkwit, or whatever. You can make fun of me in the comments for my spelling. This event had you collect different plants, fruits, and shellfish in the open world so that you can combine them in order to create different dyes. You then tested all those different dyes on the Bulkhead. Players loved this event, trying to figure out all the different combinations, and collected a gazillion of these materials in anticipation for the 1.5 update so they can dye their outfits. April 28th was going to be the game's release date on Steam, and 1.5 would follow. This was going to be a new chapter in this game's history that would change everything. And it did indeed change everything, except everything for the worst, and players were completely blindsided by this. You see, prior to the 1.5 update, when you would launch the game and play through the tutorial, it would show you the backstory. Nikki is preparing for her prom, so she goes to her attic, opens the closet, and finds one of her mother's old dresses. That dress turns out to be breathtaking, and for whatever reason, it starts dancing with Nikki all of a sudden. After some short dance moves, the dress puts itself on Nikki and transports her to another world. In this world, she meets a goddess that looks really cool, by the way, who tells her that she's
does she have fat tits?
To know her mother a long time ago, and that now she has to save this world by collecting all the different miracle outfits. So even if you weren't a story player or someone who necessarily cares about lore, this intro still managed to somehow captivate you.
Captivate you, that's a word.
Reel you into this new world that you just found yourself in. Not to mention, this isn't generic in any way. It's not the typical gacha story. It's original and beautiful and leaves you with just enough questions to keep going. However, when old players launched the game after the 1.5 update, they were met with this cutscene. It was also sudden, there was no prior warning, and they were like, what the hell's going on? They were met with this new strange character that they had never met before, talking to them about how they're a goddess or whatever. And then they found themselves doing another tutorial, even though they've been playing the game for a long time.
What?
People were wondering, what the hell is this? Some kind of prank? What's going on here?
That would piss me the fuck off. I hate that when that happens. Other companies have done it too. They're like, oh, you're a veteran player? Come back, play the tutorial. It's like, excuse me, I've been playing this game for like a million years. Thank you very much.
Well, it turned out that the whole story changed, okay? It was retconned. That's the term. It was retconned, and everything you've known beforehand didn't matter anymore. There was no dress in the attic. Your mother, who cares about her? You having to save the world, we don't know why. You're just a goddess or whatever, and just go do you. Like, nothing made sense. Players were absolutely baffled. Why would you change such a perfect story? It didn't make any sense. Here are some comparisons, right? You start in the attic in the old one. In the new one, you just start somewhere, unknown. You have no idea where you're at. Anna, that woman with the white hair that you meet in chains in the first intro, who was your mother's friend, just appears randomly, like
they made her less hot. Look at her.
With no cool cutscene or whatever in the second new intro. This is also without mentioning the fact that it just looked uglier, almost like it was rushed for whatever reason. Some people had the theory that Infold did this to make co-op mode make sense lore-wise, since the new tutorial had an emphasis on different worlds. But seriously, how stupid is that? No one needs lore or a justification as to why you can play with your friend. Yeah. No one asked for this. There was no one who saw this new tutorial and thought,
realistically, how many people are gonna even play with like friends? Probably not very often. Like you've kind of failed your demographic.
Man, I'm really glad they did this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they just broke it in the process of trying to fix something that didn't need fixing. This is without us going into detail about how they butchered some beloved side characters by retconning the story. One character that was beloved by the community, because of course most of them are female, is Giovanni, this dreamy looking fella right here. The story being retconned made his whole story not really make much sense anymore, which is wonderful news to many players who play the game. Now you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I get why Infinity and Nikki players are so pissed. I'd be pissed too. But buddy, we're not even halfway through this mess yet, so hold your horses. Things are about to get way worse. Look, if you play gacha games, you know how the gacha system works.
Yep.
You pull on the banner of a character you want, using either the currency you earn in-game or one that you buy in the store.
Yep.
You can get really lucky initially and get what you want, or you can get really unlucky, but not too unlucky because there's a pity system that limits how unlucky you can get before giving you what you want.
You do not know true pain of not having a pity system until you played WoW, and you literally just never get the drop. Oh my god, I remember so many times re-rolling and doing the same dungeon over and over and just not getting that shit. You guys are spoiled!
If you want to go the extra mile, or if you're rich or just irresponsible with your money,
yes,
you can usually pull for the same character multiple times and their copies would give them more abilities, making them OP as hell. Now, based on how lucky or unlucky you are, and if we're going to assume that you're only buying the currency, not earning it in-game, prices have always varied. But recently, because of pressure from the United States, Genshin was forced to show exactly how much a character would cost if you were to be lucky or
1.103%. 198 to 475. I feel like not a lot of people care, but seeing those numbers is so funny to me.
The unluckiest possible. And as you can see here, it's $1.98 to $475.
$400 for a fucking character in a video game. Bro, blow me, man.
So if you bought all your currency from the store in Genshin Impact and got extremely unlucky, reaching hard pity at 90 wishes, you would have paid $475.2. Keep that in mind. Now, in Infinity Nikki, you're not pulling for a character, you're pulling for an outfit, but not just one outfit, not one piece, you're pulling for multiple pieces of that same outfit. Usually a 5-star limited outfit will have around 10 different pieces. So you're going to be wishing a lot, but thankfully the chances of getting a duplicate are very low. And before the die system was even introduced, the way you could get different colors for the outfit was to 1. Get the whole outfit, 2. Get 180 wishes, or 3. Get 230 wishes, with each one granting you a different color. Now look, overall, a lot of players collected currency in-game in order to get these outfits, but if you were to do this with money only, with no currency collected in-game, this could amount to close to 600 USD, trying to get all the pieces of an outfit, plus getting all colors, including the 230 wish one. Even compared to other gacha games, this was more expensive on average. So it comes,
well, yeah, because they were losing money. That's why they did that.
There's no surprise that when 1.5 dropped and the very hyped up limited outfit banners came out, people couldn't believe the fact that instead of having 10 pieces, these outfits had 11 pieces, which meant that you had to pull an average of 20 more.
That is evil. Wait. Oh my god. That's like if, so for those WoW players out there, you literally have 5 pieces that drop from a boss, and then Blizzard is like, we're not seeing player engagement, so we're gonna increase the pieces on a boss so that you have to keep rolling higher. That's so bad.
Times in order to get that 11th piece, making the overall banner or outfit acquisition even more expensive than it used to be. This, just like the story getting retconned, came out of nowhere with no prior communication. And speaking of no prior communication, things would only get worse in that regard. You see, the endgame content for Infinity Nikki is called Mira Crown. Think of it like Infinity Nikki's version of Dress to Impress. You have to come up with different combinations of outfits throughout very specific challenges in order to progress. And once you did, you got currency that you could use to wish on banners. Prior to 1.5, these would reset every 2 weeks, allowing you to get an ample amount of currency twice every month from the endgame content.
That's too much.
When 1.5 released, though, people found out that it would take 3 weeks for it to reset as opposed to 2 weeks, making it even harder to get currency without spending money, and you're over here dealing with the fact that there's an 11th piece on an outfit you want. Yeah, it's just been punch after punch to the face, man. But we're far from being done. The die system that was so incredibly long awaited was a massive disappointment. Those materials that people spent a very long time farming in preparation for this system were now deemed useless.
Oh, dude, MMOs do this as well. They'll tell you that you need to prep and farm something, and then they realize that those players have like accumulated a bunch of them, and they'll change it so that they're useless and they have to keep farming them. Yeah.
Now needed a new kind of currency that costs money in order to unlock the colors. And just as you thought that this already sucks, well, it sucks even more, because you have to unlock the color you want on each individual piece of clothing, which means you need to unlock it 11 times. 11 times!
Disgusting.
So unless you were willing to cough out hundreds of dollars on currency packs, you could kiss that sweet dream of having a functioning die system goodbye. This was especially hurtful to the players because much of these colors were named after the fruit materials that were present during the dyeing event.
They didn't even change the names!
Trust was being squandered at every second. And it was obvious much of these changes were last second. What was going on at Infold for this to happen?
Money. They didn't make enough money. They need to squeeze your balls from our money.
Well, a lot of incompetence, but also potentially illegal activities. Someone had made a lengthy post on the Infinity Nikki Reddit highlighting the illegal practices that Infold was committing in their—
I'll just go back to LOL, at least it's not robbing me. What are you talking about, little bro? Didn't they remove loot boxes and shit and then people revolted? Yeah, do we just memory hole that shit?
Their game. For example, someone looked into the game files and found that the drop rates for different items in an outfit were not the same, with the most wanted aspects of an outfit like the hairstyle and the dress itself being lower than shoes, socks, and accessories.
That's smart. That's very smart.
This is not in any way, shape, or form specified in-game, going against European gambling laws and also American FTC laws. At the same time, the game had these ridiculous discounts on items that didn't make any sense. For example, one item you could buy in 1.5 was a bathtub. And as you can see here, there's a discount with the original price.
Original price, 49 euros. 80%. You'd be stupid not to buy this. They did this with Diablo Immortal too, chat. They were like, hey, this is a value of like $15. We're doing a discount for 300% for $1. Dude, it's crazy.
Being 49 euros and it being sold for 10 euros. Dubious discounts like this are illegal by the FTC and European consumer laws. This wasn't just present in Europe, this was present in all—
Yeah, Bethesda did this, Blizzard did this with Diablo Immortal, yep. 800% value. Yeah, that's a really good one because you can say 800% value, but you can't say negative 80% value on something that was never on sale in the first place.
All regions, and dubious discounts go against all consumer laws, period. People complained heavily about this and threatened legal action, so Infold gave in. They removed the discount, and miraculously, it seems that the final price is $14. Wow. But listen, all these things suck so much, but they've been mostly tied to game features and monetization, right? Well, yeah, that's because we haven't talked about one of the biggest issues with 1.5, and that's the fact that it made the game almost unplayable because of bugs, like this one right here. This was not present in the game before 1.5. What happened? Or how about this one right here? The floating bike. Like, come on, how does this happen? Someone commented, insane. Another retcon. Nikki now literally a bodiless no-clip entity.
She's a bike now,
I should mention, though, that not all bugs were funny. Some people genuinely couldn't log into the game, and if they did, it would immediately just crash. But there really were a lot of funny bugs. Oh, Nikki's opening a door. Oh, the door teleported. There was even a bug in which the new character that shows up in the new intro doesn't even appear. And the person who posted it said, maybe the best bug in 1.5 version. Dude, people hated this new story. Actually, I think it was safe to say that people hated every single aspect.
And you just know there's just Karens out there because there's a lot of women that plays as the Karens are gonna go crazy.
Of 1.5, and we're hoping to go back to 1.4 at this point. It got so bad that they started threatening boycotts on the Infinity Nikki official subreddit, as well as the official Infinity Nikki Discord. They just couldn't handle this anymore. To their surprise, though, Infold revealed their true colors and started banning or muting anyone that would say the word boycott. So what did
nothing to see here.
The community do? They started using the word girlcott. This movement started quickly spreading even outside of Infinity Nikki, reaching other games from Infold like Levin Deep Space. It even got reported on by Vice and other publications because the community—
I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Vice blows, but sure.
—was doing everything they could to let the world know our game is going through the shitter. But if you thought that only Western players were participating in this girlcott, then you'd be mistaken. Because this even reached the Chinese community, who went all the way to Steam forums to warn new players not to download the game, as you can see from all these posts over here. Bad, 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 everybody don't play. Do not get in, this game makes you unfortunate.
We won't tolerate this. Very unfunny, very bad, very officially unfriendly.
This was now a global movement, and they were pissed. And it forced Infinity Nikki to make some sort of a statement. and they came out with this apology at the end of April, shortly after 1.5 had released, saying, "Apology letter regarding version 1.5 gaming experience. Dear stylists, hope this message finds you well. First and foremost, we would like to extend our sincerest apologies. We are truly sorry that we were unable to provide you with a stable experience upon the release of the new version. We understand that every stylist's love and trust in Infinity Nikki is something we must cherish and uphold with the utmost dedication. With the desire to offer Nikki and all of you a more vibrant and colorful journey, we had planned various new content for this update, designing outfits in diverse styles, creating fun and engaging gameplay, and crafting unique landscapes. We hope Nikki could embark on thrilling adventures across parallel worlds, discovering endless surprises and joy in Mirrorland. However, this time, we fell short of expectations. Following the version update, we received a lot of feedback regarding game experience issues, primarily concerning the DIY workshop, co-op feature, and overall game performance, including issues such as login failures, crashes, and resolution problems. We have been carefully collecting each report and immediately working with our teams to address these issues. We sincerely apologize for the issues that disrupted Nikki's dazzling and dreamlike journey. Following an urgent review by the development team, we have already resolved nearly 100 issues, improved the stability of multiple—
But we have not resolved the issues of the game's shop, man.
Player servers and carried out emergency fixes for certain visual display issues. Moving forward, we will continue to monitor the game's performance to ensure these problems do not reoccur. Below is a detailed update on the fixes. So here they give a list of around 13 different issues that they seemingly fixed. Then they go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, saying additional clarifications based on community feedback. Number 1.
Do you notice how they make this all so fucking hard to read? They do this on purpose.
Number of pieces in the 5-star outfits, Snowy Ballad, and Crimson Feather. In version 1.5, the Bubble Season update introduced multiplayer gameplay to create a richer, more engaging adventure for Nikki and all stylists. This idea also shaped the design direction of the new outfits. From the early design stage, we intended the 5-star outfits to embody themes of collaboration and companionship, symbolized by the story of the ever-blazing bird sacrificing herself to save the iceborne mermaid. Thus, we introduced dedicated dynamic effects, transformation animations, and unique music compositions.
So this is basically, I'll give you the TLDR. Do you know when they increase the prices of skins in League of Legends? This is what they're saying. They're like, we needed to increase this thing because it's gonna take more resources and effort for us to fucking to make this, man.
For these outfits.
So we gotta pay
in
more
Snowy
money.
Ballad, we introduced highly dynamic special effects for the pieces and special aurora effects for the hair. The Crimson Feather outfit was designed around the core concept of rebirth, featuring a unique ash form appearance and different transformation effects depending on whether Nikki is in the air or on the ground. In addition, to align with the theme of the new version, we introduced multiplayer features in the design of both the decoration item and dance move. The Eternal Snowdew decoration now features a special co-op interaction, and for the Everlasting Hope dance move, we attempted to create a co-op dance mode based on the original dance move. Both the versions were developed with dedicated custom music compositions. To enrich styling combinations, the total number of pieces for these outfits was set at 11. We sincerely apologize for the lack of prior communication regarding this adjustment. Moving forward, we guarantee that the number of pieces in 5-star outfits will not exceed 11, and major changes will be communicated in advance through official channels. So look, the majority of this paragraph was just mumbo jumbo. Honestly, it doesn't make any sense to include this. I don't care about your vision for the outfit. People are just concerned about it going from 10 to 11 and costing more. And their logic was because it was meant to be in the spirit of cooperativeness or whatever the hell, or new features. But you have to keep in mind, in one of the outfits, there are 11 pieces and you can't even see one of the pieces, which are the socks. It's hidden behind the dress. You literally cannot see it. So what's the point? In any case, this was them saying,
guys, in Stellar Blade, she has a tampon. You can't see it, but you have to buy it for the outfit. You have to buy the tampon.
That 11 pieces are here to stay, but hey, we won't increase it unless we let you know in the future. This is kind of hard to believe since they already did it without notifying anyone to begin with. They then say, number 2, duration changes for the Mirror Crown Pinnacle Contest. To offer a richer and more diverse styling experience, the Mirror Crown Pinnacle Contest and the special effects are periodically refreshed and updated. As each version varies in duration, the duration of each Mirror Crown Pinnacle Contest has also differed accordingly. We have taken note of the community's discussions regarding the contest duration. In response, we are planning to end the current contest at 4 AM on May 16th, with the next contest starting immediately at 4 AM on May 16th. Starting from the next cycle, the Mirror Crown Pinnacle Contest will be held twice a month, starting on the 1st and 16th of each month. So hey,
I'm just gonna skip a little bit of it. I'm not even gonna lie, this is so long and convoluted. Basically, they fucked him over.
But hey, you know what's funny? Speaking of being generous, there were many players logging in to find that their crystal balance was in the negative, something usually reserved for people who buy crystals and then charge back with their credit card in order to try to pull a case of fraud. You see, there's this pass that you can buy for $5 that gives you currency every single day. Well, at some point, the game was bugged beyond recognition and it would count you logging in twice, something that the player had no control over. So they started taking those crystals away, not to mention this person right here posting this post.
Oh my god, negative 1,955, dude.
Saying I'm going to cry, spending 20 euros on the game, and then for whatever reason logging in the next day and seeing that the balance was in the negative, even though they didn't charge back or anything. Speaking of that monthly pass, in order to get the daily currency that you paid for, you have to log in, otherwise you miss out on them whenever you
I hate that.
don't. Someone had spent $5 on the pass and wanted to log in order to get the daily currency, but they couldn't because the game was so damn bugged. They sent an email to support and this is what they had to say.
Shit.
Sorry for the late reply. This inability to log in resulting in rewards not being claimed is not compensable. Please log in on another device as soon as possible the next time you experience the situation. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Bro, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If you get those battle passes that make you log in, it's a skill issue, I feel
Who the hell's training this customer support team? But that is not how you approach the situation. This, of course, was disastrous. People were spending money on the game, couldn't log in because, well, it wasn't their fault. They were being penalized for these bugs, and support had this to say. Wow. But don't worry, because a higher up in the support team saw this disastrous response and decided to take things into their own hands, sending another message to this person saying, "Dear stylist, we noticed that our previous response to your inquiry was incorrect and we apologize for the inconvenience caused to you. Please provide us with your UID, the symptoms of your inability to log in, and the number of days affected. We will further verify the situation and promptly communicate with you on the follow-up situation. Best regards, Infinity Nikki support team." Well, that's cool, right? That's way better than that last response. Way to go, right? Well, 12 hours later, he gets another message.
They have schizo fucking customer support.
And it's, "Hi, stylist. We have detected that you have not responded for a long time, and this ticket will be automatically closed. If you have any further questions, please initiate a new inquiry. Thank you for your understanding." Total unforgivable chaos in every way, shape, and form. And after that first apology, there was nothing else coming from them. Absolute radio silence. The community was still not happy, mind you, because the apology barely covered half of the grievances they had. But this all changed on May 18th, a bit over 2 weeks since 1.5 came out, and it somehow managed to get even worse. On May 18th, Infinity Nikki would put out yet another statement saying, "Dear stylist, this is the Infinity Nikki dev team. First and foremost, we sincerely thank you for your unwavering support and love for Infinity Nikki. Since the launch of version 1.5, insufficient preparation during pre-release testing led to unexpected live issues, resulting in an unstable game environment and unsatisfactory content. We fully acknowledge that this is our responsibility, and addressing these shortcomings remains a top priority for our team moving forward. Additionally, we encounter technical challenges during development that require more time to resolve thoroughly. Following rigorous assessment, we decided to extend version 1.5's end date to ensure greater stability and prevent similar issues from reoccurring. We're acutely aware that these recent issues have impacted your experience and damaged the trust and affection you've placed in us. To all stylists, we offer our deepest apologies."
I love that word.
So then they go ahead and outline that version 1.5 is going to end on June 12th. A delay of a few weeks, and then they proceed to say, "Weekly tasks, Starlit Pursuit delay notice. After version 1.5 launched, we received extensive feedback on co-op features and gameplay. Based on this, we are optimizing related systems, and the new weekly tasks, Starlit Pursuit, originally scheduled for May 20th, will now debut in version 1.6. This is an event with co-op being the main focus, right?"
So they just fucked him like
this
that?
delay allows us to
In light of this change, we'll be giving compensation in the form of crystals, dude.
Find task mechanics for a smoother experience. Additional details will be announced at a later date. Please stay tuned. In light of this change, 360 Starlit crystals will be given to all players as compensation.
This is copy pasted as AI. That's what I feel like, dude. Hold on. This is another massive essaying, though. Let me skip it a little bit.
Even notifying the community, how are they supposed to trust you with this roundtable now? There are 444 replies to this tweet, and let me tell you, most of them are furious. Because as this comment right here points out, 220 pity not being lowered, barely addressing Retcon's story, no addressing the horrible dying system, no addressing the Mira crown changes, but hey, we got 8 pulls. That was the sentiment. And
well, that's what the Fujoshis want at the end of the day. They just want more polls.
Majority of the community, both global and Chinese. So it didn't really take long, but people who were very big fans of the game painfully chose to uninstall after seeing just how tone deaf the dev team was. And this once wholesome community, this once very positive and contagiously nice community, was just riddled with people who had lost all hope, who were depressed at the fact that this game was never going to be the game they loved just one update ago. It was very sad to see because, as I said in the beginning, in the gacha community, this was seen as the beacon of hope. The one game that was immune to the very stupid gacha drama that plagues other games every single day online.
What is gacha drama anyway? Like whose wife is hotter or something?
And some people were getting tired of people telling them that they uninstalled because the posts were getting that much common on the Infinity Nikki unofficial Reddit as well as other places online. But why did this happen? Why did this developer shoot themselves in the foot with a goddamn shotgun when their community loved their game? Well, there are a few theories. Let's talk about them. As I pointed out before, the revenue for this game has just been going down every single month fairly consistently. Before the game released, the CEO of the studio revealed that Infinity Nikki was being developed by over 1,000 people. Okay,
that's way too many for a fucking gacha. I'm not gonna lie.
Very big team. Of course, this includes outsources. Not everyone actually works at Infold, but you get the point. This cost a lot of money to make. So look, like this post on Reddit explains it, there are many theories here, but if you worked a corporate job before and everything was going well until one of your bosses was replaced with some idiot, this might seem very familiar to you. It happens too often, unfortunately.
I don't even think it's that. I think you're thinking way too deep. I think the revenue went down. They wanted more money. They overstepped and basically they did the riot thing where they rug pulled people and then we're like, oh shit, oh fuck. Oh, I guess it doesn't make it any better, but then they overpushed it.
Maybe a new boss comes in, they have ego issues, they're insecure, they have imposter syndrome, they want people to think that they're smart, so they make these crazy major changes that no one ends up liking and they end up screwing up the whole company. This is maybe what's happening at Infold. But interestingly enough, this hasn't stopped them from aggressively recruiting in their Shanghai office. And you gotta wonder why. Maybe it's for their money printer Love and Deep Space, or maybe because they laid off a lot of Infinity Nikki devs that were originally on the game.
They can afford to let this one die if Love and Deep Space keeps going and they go strong.
And are replacing them with cheaper labor. Who knows? What I do know for certain, though, is that this game was a breath of fresh air in the gacha community. And it made an important segment if players feel like they're finally validated with a game that meant something for them. Are they going to be able to get a game like that again? Well, I hope so, because they deserve it. But that's not to say that there aren't any Infinity Nikki players hoping that the game will redeem itself. Those still exist. And you know what? For their sake, I hope that that will be the case. But if you ask my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the video till the end. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is, which should be in a few days from now. I love you so much. And yeah, take care. Mwah.
Who fucking knew, man? Sorry for ruining the entire game. Anyone want to buy a $49 bathtub? It's on sale. Very strong. I don't know how you can manage to shit up an entire game like this that makes so much money. Like, yeah, sure, it wasn't making the same amount as Love and Deep Space because you're not getting porked. But still, it's just like, how do you manage to fuck it up? Making $6 million a month is something people could dream of. Like, that is not realistic. It does not happen. Yeah. 1,000 devs make sense for this kind of game because of the very intricate outfits, but it's just my opinion. No, it's not. That is not. You do not need 1,000 people to implement a Unreal Engine 5 outfit for a cute outfit for a girl. You just don't. I'm sorry. No game needs 1,000? No, not even that. I would say even like 300 to 400 is way too much. Yeah. Genuinely, I don't think it's that big of a fucking deal. I remember seeing Silver played, I thought it looked cute, but never got into it. I guess I thought it was a bullet. Yeah, I saw Silver playing, and I was like, it looks kind of cute. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have time to play, but I respect it. And this, like, good lord, man. I'm okay. I'll pass.